Hey guys, this is William, and this is a Wusik Station version 9 tutorial. I'm going through a list of questions that a user sent me. So please make a video that starts from scratch and goes through all the sections. Okay, so I have Wusik Station version 9 loaded here. I have loaded the init preset. So I went to the presets and click on the init. So that's just a pure sine waveform. So I'm going to change the sine waveform with something else. So I'm going to select Soundsets, and let's say I'm going to go to what's the name again? Analog Nights. Those are Yamaha. I don't recall the name, but it's a virtual analog synth. So I'm just going to select the first synth here from Analog Night, and I'm going to keep changing the sound. So okay, I want to change the semitones. We're going to put 7 semitones up. So I'm just going to go here on a semi and click and drag until I have 7. And on a fine tune, I'm going to put like minus 34, 28, minus 28, 0.28. So it's going to change all the semitones and fine tunings of any sounds I load on the sample player. And now I'm going to check the filter. So I have my filter here. And I can use the smooth option to make the filter change go much slower. I'm going to point 0.97, which is very slow. You can hear that moving the value up and down. So we're going to try 0.88. It's a very good value, and increase the resonance. And I can also mess up with the drive. The drive on this particular filter is actually going to limit the sound output so it doesn't clip as much. So if I put it 48 decibels, oh sorry, the drive is actually an overdrive effect. Sorry, I'm confused with the legacy filter, which I'm going to show later. Lucky for me, on the master page, I do have a limiter there. And also have a sample and hold effect. The sample hold effect is actually going to change the frequency of the sound. So if you're working off 48 kilohertz and you start going up the sample rate value, it's going to go to 22, 18, 6,000, and as low as it gets. To me, it sounds like an Atari effect, Atari punk console effect, something like that. And the feedback and delay are just like that. The feedback is going to input the sound back to the filter using the delay that you choose. So it's a bit hard to get a sound that stays because the feedback is always input in the sound bag. So it overdrives and well, it self oscillates in some aspect. So let me see what else is on the list. The other envelope synthesizer functions. Well, we have the Muchline envelope here, which is a Muchline, where you have two sustain points, or you can click here on an empty area and select ADSR mode. And it's going to work as an attack, decay, sustain, and release envelope. For that, it's better if you Google about ADSR envelopes because there are some good explanations online. But in short, you have the attack time that takes for the sound to go up and appears. And decay is the time it takes to go to the sustain level. So if the sustain is at a maximum level, decay is not going to work or do anything. But it's at very low level, like in this case 0, that we're going to hear the attack very slow and then a quick decay to 0. And there we go. And then the release, when you have a sustain level, any level, the release is going to be the time it takes for the sustain value go to 0. My keyboard here is not doing any note off, so I can't really test, but I have to click panicking here. But it does what it does. It does the release uh, of the envelope. So let me see what else. Well, I can use an envelope, change the frequency of the filter. So let me put back here just a normal sustain release. I'm going to turn off smooth. Otherwise, in some notes, it's going to try to smooth from 0 to 0 and it's going to do a noise. Now it's not doing anything. So I'm going to go to the modulation and add a new modulation envelope to layer 1 multi-filter frequency. So it's using this envelope here, which I can also change to ADSR envelope. There we go, just a simple, and I have to put frequency to 0 here because the modulation is going to add to the frequency. And let me quickly show you what happens if I put the legacy filter, replace filter with legacy. I have to put the modulation again because this filter was taken off. Modulation envelope 1 to layer 1. Now to the legacy filter frequency. I have to put to 0. And now drive. I should have changed this name, but it's been drive since version 1. So drive is actually going to do the opposite. It's going to avoid clipping the sound. If I go here to my master limiter, I can see. Let me deactivate the master limiter. Uh, Something happening. I lost my preset. Because I'm changing the code, this version here, it's a beta version that I'm testing, and I forgot to fix a problem with the master limiter. So sorry about that. You can hear that when I put the drive all the way up, it kinds remove the distortion. So it's just that I chosen this name on version 1 and we are now on version 9 and it stays like that, but yeah, I should have done a better name. Anyway, let's add an LFO here on the modulation. LFO to layer 1, legacy filter, frequency. So right now it's adding to the envelope filter. And I can change the speed. So you can hear that on the start is putting the modulation envelope all the way to the top, and then the modulation envelope is going lower and lower, and then the LFO is starting to act up. So this is going to be a short video. I just want to show a few things here and there, and I'm possibly going to be forgetting something, but it's at least a start. So let's change the LFO waveform to sawtooth and make it slower, very slow. Okay, it's not doing what I want. Why? Maybe because it's mute option. I don't know, something's wrong in here. Oh, okay, I see what's going on. There's one thing you have to keep in mind with LFOs is that they can go from -1 to +1. And since the frequency of a filter that doesn't have any negative value, like a stereo panning, which goes from -1 to 1, you have to use the absolute value here. You have to click this option here. So it outputs only the absolute of the output. It's just something you have to keep in mind. Most of the case, you are going to use the absolute turn on. Maybe I should have it turned on by default because the only option to use negative and positive is pitch and panning. But well, maybe it's best to leave like that. So let me check the filters again, add a filter, because we also have custom filters that can do some crazy stuff. Let me check. The Carplus Strong is one. I have an example already of that on the showcasing. I think it's version 8. See if I find it. Where is it? Table 9. I don't know where I put it. Oh, maybe just search presets. Strong bass. No, that's not wrong. I think I added this to Eve, and I forgot to add in here. Console search. But basically, what you do, let me load an init preset again, which is just a sample player. I'm going to load a sound set, and at the bottom, I'm going to go to waveforms and noise. And now I'm going to go to the Carpus Strong, replace filter custom Carpus Strong. To be honest, I don't really remember how to use it. Let me check in here. SR mode, because it's really not working. Feedback filter. I used this one time with great results, but to be honest, I really don't remember what I did. So ignore this for now, anyway. But the Carpus Strong, what it does a delay and tries to use the delay modulation to mimic strings like on a guitar, acoustic guitar, and stuff like that. I do remember having a preset that worked great with it, so I don't remember where I put it. Use the presets. I don't really remember. There's simple delay. Sounds. Oh yeah, here it is. So it's on showcasing version 8 string sounds. But for some reason my version of Wusik Station is not playing correctly. I have to check why it's doing that. Maybe in the last build I messed it up with something with the audio input, because that was the last thing I was messing up. So could be that. Something else. Anyway, just something that I was working on. So working with effects is very simple. Let's load the init super oscillator. So you have two options. You can have two send effects or an insert effect. To use the insert effect, you just go to master, select the layer you want, and on the insert effect, you just select the effect you want. So let's say the stereo delay. So in this case, it's going to go all the sound to the stereo delay. But if you want to select how much of the sound you want, just use the send effect instead. So new effect, stereo delay, and I can use the send effect. So each layer is going to have its own send effect. And that's pretty much it. You just add effects in here. You can add VSTs effects too. You can use the plugins manager to scan effects on VST format. Not every plugin is going to work because it's very difficult to host plugins, and but most are going to work. And you also have the custom effects. The custom effects and custom filter, I'm going to do another video just about that because it's a bit more complicated to use. Not to use actually, but to make one. To use it, just select the one you want and just use it, but make effect. Let me see. Let me think what else I could talk about. We're going to wait some feedback on this video and see what else I could work on. But the idea is basically this. You can also add another layer from here. You can select the sample player, wave sequencer, which is going to be a sample player with wave sequencing, the tree oscillator, the super oscillator, the draw wave oscillator, and the audio looper, which also needs its own video because it's a very different thing. It's kind of like a vocoder, but at the same time, it's not a vocoder. But it's kind of sounds like a vocoder, so it's a bit complicated to explain. But I will do another video that I explain more in depth. So I just going to think a bit more what else I could add. But that's it for this video, I guess. So thanks for watching.